apologies to people for just having a video without announcing it, so people could jump in the chat. That's how we roll here. We're spontaneous. You guys know the rules. No droids, no bananas, no Raylos, no nobodies, no sequel trilogy fans of any kind, no black pills. The death of Star Wars has been basically ended. What do I mean by that? Well, Samba TV put out its ratings for that episode 35% higher than they were for when Luke showed up. It's truth. Go look it up yourself. So the death of Star Wars has been greatly exaggerated, hyperbolic, and frankly, there are a lot of big YouTubers that are probably not liking this news. But let's talk about why. First off, people were led to believe Harrison Ford was going to be in it. And I hate to break it to all the Luke nuts, but the one actor in Star Wars that became a movie star, who was an icon, who was a living, breathing legend, Harrison Ford, brings in the normies, brings in people like, my husband, all right? Brings in people like, just your average Joe. Oh, hey, we're going to get to see Han Solo. If you looked at the past votes, the most recognizable character in Star Wars is Darth Vader, followed by Han Solo, okay? So when that news broke, a lot of people probably were going to oh my God, we get to see him again, we get to see him again. Didn't happen because, the episode was frankly mediocre, all right? I mean, I liked it, but I'm not jumping up and down like I was at the end of Mando episode 16. But still, this episode drew normies. I have a feeling trying to dumb down Star Wars for kids only is basically part of what happened. We had shenanigans in the background with Kennedy and that. Again, this movie started to be filmed, or the show was filmed between November 20th, or November 2020 and April 2021. So we had, Kennedy's conniving, scheming, plotting. We had the COVID bullshit. And, just the script with Jon Favreau really obviously not being able to take his time with it. And when Doomcock said that, there was a feeling that they might not have Han in it because it was just silly and zany. Probably true. Okay, so he can run with that, and there's no shame in that. But still, the idea he was going to be in it drew a lot of people. Again, despite what the SJWs at Lucasfilm think, and despite what a lot of diehard fans think, Harrison Ford as Han Solo, I mean, it's probably his most popular character, whether, he likes it or not. And I think he's actually, since the release of TFA and since he saw what they did to Mark and Carrie, I think he realized he should have been part of it. All right. I think he's probably the reason why Indy 5 has had all that trouble. And I think they're reshooting the entire movie. Now they're not going to be done filming that until the end of February. And I was told Ingruber, now that it's public, was going back to England to film more. Okay. And that's the thing that And I guarantee you, when he showed up on that set, that wasn't Kennedy's idea. That was Harrison Ford. All right. He saw how badly awful Aaron Yuck did in Solo and was just like, no, we no, this is not, that's not Han. This is bullshit. So we get Gruber, which is great. And they can use him for other things too, by the way. But yeah, that's why I think this was such a highly rated show. And also, the show wasn't as bad as the Black Pills want us to think. First off, nothing in it led to the sequel trilogy. It had nothing to do beyond Grogu showing up back with the Mando, with Luke, or anything, the Jedi Academy at all. Okay? I think the thing that pushed people to think it did is Bavar's blurb on StarWars.com, and now Screen Rant's obvious troll, which is what it is, on their thing. You've got at chat trying to engage in pissed off fans right now on Twitter. But I think the reason why there's such like there's a movement with them is they know something's happening. To me, the more I look at everything, there's a certain fear among these people. Okay. You don't put stuff out there like they did unless you're afraid. Okay? The timing of those two things on StarWars.com and Screen Rant were done deliberately to agitate the fans. But look at the ratings. The fans, the real fans of Star Wars won. Okay? I'm going to say it. Boba Fett was mediocre. All right? It wasn't a place you're going to stick an iconic character like Han Solo in. You're just not going to do it. You got to save him for something staggeringly awesome. Okay? And that's important. If you don't, you run the risk of just not really serving the character well and hurting what you're doing. Okay, kind of like TFA. When you look at the sequel trilogies, those movies are very forgettable. I think the reason why we keep bringing them up is because they were deliberately harmful to the franchise. And we know that. I mean, we're very, this was not good for anybody. Hey, Code Raven. So, I'm sorry to tell you, man. I'm sorry, Black Pills, but, normies came to watch and it got more views. Luke showed up and broke the internet. Now, when they do have Han show up, and it's a good show, I think it'll make the end of the Boba Fett even look pale in comparison. Again, because of who is in it. Okay, again, Harrison Ford still has the ability to get people going, I gotta see that. Why? Because that character was the character that changed his life. It also, he also became a movie star because of Han Solo. I disagree strongly with Steven Spielberg that Harrison Ford in Witness became a movie star. He was a movie star at the end of Star Wars Episode 4. He was the one that got noticed, okay? Mark Hamill's a great actor. I mean, he really is. But he didn't ring the bell with people. He didn't hit that spot that Harrison Ford did. I mean, I'm going to say this, I'm being very honest. Mark Hamill played a young man who, like every other young man that I ever knew, all right? You got to see Witness again. If you barely remember it, I can't talk to you. Okay, I mean, what that movie was fantastic. It really, really was. I mean, he should have won the Academy Award for that. He got beat because another great actor, Jeremy Irons, was up for an Academy Award, and the Academy gets all weak in the knees over British actors. It's just what happens. But it's the truth. I mean, that people wanted to see Han Solo again, and I was disappointed. But when I look back on the show, it's like it was okay. It was fine, but it's not worthy of that presence. Okay, now one of my subscribers, hopefully she's in the chat or watching, stated to me that Jon Favreau changed his mind and may indeed end up taking over Lucasfilm in order to keep the shenanigans from happening again. Okay? And if that's the case, that is huge news. Now, I've got people out there asking around. I put it out there that I'd like to know a little more. It's only one person saying this, but I've been, pretty good on predicting things, and I've thought for a long time the only way to do what is necessary to fix Star Wars is for Jon Favreau or someone like him to take over Lucasfilm. The 180, basically, of Kathy Kennedy, who will go in and, basically tell people, hey, you've been here long enough, it's time to go. All right? And to be honest, I think that's what may be happening, which is why we're seeing so much movement and freaky behavior from the shows, at chats, Star Wars Explained, putting out just gag-worthy bullshit. Dimcock said there's a rumor about Daisy Ridley doing a recording for Galaxy's Edge, but they're not gonna, part of the problem with that hotel is the sequel trilogy. Okay, let's be honest. That is repellent to people. Yeah, you're right, Mazarus. But I think that he's probably on his way out if he's not out already. He took off Lucasfilm and left his ideology up. Why? You know, you know, it just, his behavior is baffling. She's not above scorched earth, but I think that they're trying to stop it. Hey, Mexican Iron Man. Hey, Mike. I think what they're trying to do, I think that if, and this is a big if because I've only heard this in one place, but I thought I'd put it out there. I think you're probably right, John 42 on that, but still, in order to assuage people's fears, you do have to address it. Cameron did a great job with that. White Phoenix, Doomcock is a lot. He's backed off. He's kind of realized, I think, that not to get so freaked out by things. And sometimes people have to have that cathartic, you know what I'm saying, like I did the Tuesday before it aired. I said some things that were very honest. I regret dragging in a couple people, but I also think that at least one person needed to hear that. Okay? There's time for tough love and honesty. And when I looked at the blurb that Baver put on StarWars.com, I was like, let's end the world right now over something that is bullshit. You know, it's confirmed. It's not confirmed about anything. You know, hey Dave, I got some of my favorite wrenches here: Mazerus, Mike, and Dave. So this is great. And maybe Troy Pacelli's lurking. I don't know. But anyway, I just, you've gotta. Sometimes it's cathartic just to scream about it, and then go, okay, I was a little bit whacked out, but literally, it's like, and maybe he needed to do that. But when you look back on the episode, it wasn't that great, but it wasn't horrible. You can tell that there were problems in the background of making this thing from the moment it went out. I mean, again, they had a Nikto biker painting KK's initials on that farmer's house. That's exactly what that was. And trust me, that didn't get past the story group that knows what those initials were without notice. Okay, they saw that. And that was a middle finger from the 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 Favreau's crew. Okay? And I just, well, Trencher, he still could be. Let's talk about Grogu, okay? Hey, Space Windu. It sells more toys, merchandise, if Grogu is flying around with Mando. Okay, well, Din. All right, that's why they did what they did. It doesn't mean that he's not the first student. It doesn't mean that he's not going to be a Jedi. And it doesn't mean the sequel trilogy is happening. It's like, there's no money in it. I mean, when I think about, all right, this is a nightmare for me. Go off and pay what, $6,000 for 46 hours of hanging out. That we're all having a drink. Let's say all of us are we all just got a bunch of rooms, and we're all having a drink in the dining room or the bar. And you look up and you see Ray show up, and then Kyle Ron. Now, would that be a downer? Would it? There you go. Disney's discovering something. The main audience, if you'd seen the Super Bowl, you'd have seen this. The people with the money are Generation X. Okay? All right? The ads were all aimed at us. Okay? They can't, and we have the money. Millennials aren't going to pay for that. They'll sit there on Twitter screaming at each other, but and not buy the stuff, not go to the movie over and over again, not go to the hotel. They sure as hell don't go to Orlando or Anaheim. All right? There's no money in the sequel trilogy because the people who say they like it aren't going to spend the money for it. Even if they had the money, they're still not going to buy any of that shit. They're just not. You can tell, but when you walk in alleys and see all the Star Wars figures, the sad little Rey figures, rotting on the shelves. Okay, Zoomers aren't going to do it either. All right? In fact, my nieces demanded ABBA's new album in vinyl. Vinyl. Okay. They're Zoomers on steroids. So I'm like going, the people who thought they were making Star Wars only for kids and that they can make it as woke as they fucking want had discovered that the audience is adult between the ages of 35 and whatever. And they don't want woke. They don't want to see the legacy characters treated like shit. And they are very comfortable with seeing Chewbacca or Black K ripping somebody's arms off and throwing it across the thing. You know, I mean, well, and Trencher's right. Resistance. I mean, look at that. Lasted 2 years and was gone. All right. Doesn't work. You know, and, you know, boomers too. All right. So we have to sit and remember that Disney knows that they're adults that are going to want to watch this. Okay. John Favreau knows it's people like him. That the SJWs don't watch it, even if, you know, they can, the shell channels can sit there and say, whatever. But I noticed something. Even back in the day, in 2018 and 2017, those channels, Hello Greedo, AT-AT Chats, AT-AT Chats, I call it AT-AT Chats, Steel Wars, they didn't have any movement in their subscribers. The ones that stood against what they were doing to Star Wars did. That is a big, big, big thing to remember, okay? That is a big, big thing to remember. It basically told me that this version of Star Wars, which is progressive, ideologically relevant, wasn't going to fly. Fans were looking for people that felt betrayed like we did, and they found them. Well, hola, bays. Bullseye, it's already ending. The woke stuff in Hollywood doesn't. It's ending. Ghostbusters Afterlife. I want to talk a little bit about Ivan Reitman at the end of this. Proved it, and then Dune proved it. There was no woke in any of that. And Spider-Man had no woke. Okay, so there's no money in it. I mean, Zaslav coming, and again, I gotta remind you guys, that merger is happening. The Justice Department said, go now in peace. We give you the, go on. That's happening. All right. There are people at Warner Brothers leaving because they know Zaslav's gonna fire him if they don't. Okay. All right. Bob Chapek right now is probably getting ready to flex his muscle again. If he hasn't already. We just don't know. Okay? Who is, all right, Douglas Trumbull? I don't, that name rings a bell, but I can't. All right? And so, people, look, I'm going to tell you what Cameron said, what Andre says, what Mike says, what Valiant says. We're still going to see shit coming through the pipeline. All right? That sewer. Okay, thanks, Dave. And we're gonna see woke crap because it's already there, it's already being set, and they just have to, to just get it out there and get it gone. Okay, it's kind of like the idea that Disney isn't going to necessarily cancel the High Republic yet. They're going to get what they can out of it and then probably just go, okay, fine. Okay. And that's a fact. There, you know, I don't know where Dark Horse Comics is with Star Wars yet, but it appears to me that Marvel is not going to have Star Wars anymore. That tells me that somebody at Lucasfilm is removing things. All right, that they're basically taking the reins back and doing a service, doing a better job. All right, which is what they need to do. I mean, but yeah, you're gonna see some crap come out, okay? And if they can make a little money at it, or just have like a little side project on the side and have it woke, they're gonna do it. But I, but it's not going to be the general thing anymore. It looks to me, after Spider-Man beat Avatar, that was just reported today. They see the money coming in, and let me tell you, there's no one more greedy than a Hollywood executive, okay, except for maybe high roller on Wall Street, okay. More is more. That's their, great is good. And as long as they're making money at non-woke stuff, they're not going to make woke stuff. And also, I think people in the industry look at this, constant, buzz about politics and identity politics and shit, that they're sick of it. They're sick of it as we are. It's you're still going to see, Joe Rogan get attacked by morons. But it's funny, you didn't see people like Sean Penn attack him, did you? You didn't see that. You know, there are people out there that are going, this cancel culture, this woke shit has gone far enough. All right. When you got Sean Penn bitching that there aren't any masculine men in movies anymore, that says a lot. All right. Because his father was on the list that the House on Un-American Activities Committee had. Okay. And no, sci-fi. Can you resend that email? Because last night I woke up at like 2 and I tried to read it and it disappeared and I can't get it back. I'm serious. I'd like to know more. I've only heard the Favreau thing from you in this chat. And right now, after seeing the Book of Boba Fett, and it was you that basically said, and I hate saying this because I like Robert Rodriguez, it does not shock me that Bob Chapek told Favreau and Filoni no more Robert Rodriguez. And I hate to say this because I like the guy, I think he's probably right. There was something really off in the show, even if I liked it. It just didn't seem like it was where it should have been. You know what I mean? But it wasn't horrible. I mean, it wasn't like sitting through 2.5 hours of TLG doing this. And then crying tears of rage all the way home. All right. There, and that's what I was looking for. As long as, we don't get, Leia Poppins or questionable sexuality going on with her, and the implication that that piece of shit Roundhead put in there with ugly ass, the Scarecrow. I mean, what the fuck was that? There was a big fuck you to all of us. That's what that was. That was a guy who didn't understand and wanted to fuck with all of us. And he did a good job, all right? And, now we've got Jon Favreau not just trying, and I'm going to say this, TFA, when you think about it, was worse. And also, despite people saying that JJ was pissed off about TLJ, no, he wasn't. He wasn't. He wasn't mad at all. Yes, you're right. You're right, Mike. He did say that. All right? And that's the bottom line. These franchises aren't going to be woke anymore. I mean, I think Kevin Feige, they can sit there and say, oh, we're for diversity and stuff. But in reality, they're not. You know, I mean, but let's go back to JJ. JJ knew what he was going to do with it. He knew what Johnson was about. He had no fucks to give. Okay? First off, JJ's a hack who can't finish a story, which is obvious. All right. Second of all, he's too busy worrying about what the suits think to actually fight for a good story. All right, now I'm gonna tell you something. The guy, when he allows himself to just be, can write. Oh, I don't think so, Trencher. I know, but sci-fi universe, even if it's a rumor, we have to talk about it. I mean, I'm going to say this. I think maybe sooner than 6 months, there's a lot of people who think, Kathy Kennedy's entrenched like a tick in the ass of Star Wars are going to be very shocked. Okay? Look. Oh, did you hear the Russians actually pulled back from the Ukraine today? Made, our illustrious, demented leader look like a jackass. Not that that's difficult, but still. Anyway, you could tell when there's something going on within a company, within a group of people. It's their behavior. We got Pablo removing Lucasfilm from his thing and then denying it meant anything. I wasn't born yesterday. You can tell when they're in a kerfuffle because we got the StarWars.com blurb. We got the Screen Rant thing, all right? We have all the shell channels tittering about stuff. There's something going on, okay? There's a fear there. I sense a fear, And for all we know, maybe the people that have caused so much trouble at Lucasfilm know that she's on her way out. I mean, they might know. We haven't heard yet. One of these days, and I think one of these days, maybe sooner than later, we're going to find out. Incidentally, I was on an intelligence gathering mission, and I went and looked at Frank Marshall's Insta, and he was in Orlando, Florida, for Valentine's Day at Galaxy's Edge. Now, there's a Galaxy's Edge in Anaheim, and yes, FUD, you're right, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Why did they go to, why was he in Orlando and was she with him? All right, he's very careful never to have her in a picture if she's with him. Again, not in London, filming Indy 5, which makes me believe they were pulled out. And JPEG said, no, you're not going to do this anymore. And again, I'm going to say this, and I know I'm right. Anybody doubts Harrison Ford wasn't the one to drop the bomb on all this bullshit with Indy 5 doesn't understand him and underestimates the man. I've seen him interviewed, and he's a very cool, calm guy, but I wouldn't fuck with him. I would not. If and she tried to have her way with that movie, and he wouldn't let her. It's his movie, not hers. No one sees her with the whip and the hat. Okay, that's him. And, she got a chance to fuck with Han, and at the time he didn't care, but I'm sure he looks back on it and goes, bad mistake. Bad. If he would have been in TLJ, that movie would have been stopped in its tracks. You know, I mean, and that's I mean, I think he saw, and I've said this before, I'll say this again. He saw what they did to Mark. He saw what they did to Carrie, and it pissed him off. Which is why, he came back to do stuff with Star Wars. All right. Hey, Matt Piranha. But I don't think he was hurt. I don't think he was as hurt as hurt as people thought he was. I think that certain people who, got lionized for attacking Mangold are wrong. That's what I meant. Thanks, Maze. That's what I meant. Is that I think he probably tweaked his shoulder. He did walk around with his arm in a sling. But the next week he's riding his bicycle on those cobblestone streets in Mayfair. They probably had long talks. Look, Harrison Ford is one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood. All right, that's period, full stop. And you can't do something on a movie set that'll piss him off. I mean, there's an interview, I've got it upstairs, about the issues going on behind the scenes, making the movie The Devil's Own, which ended up being a really good movie, by the way. And Harrison and his wife at the time, Melissa Matheson, Oscar-winning screenplay writer, were being attacked, and the rumor mongering going on, and he was pissed, and that shit ended. He basically, I think it ended up he had to literally take the reins of the production, because something was going on. He was not happy with it, and it was just it was a fakakta mess, okay? And I think maybe that's what happened with Indy 5. All right. Lovely pictures of him having dinner with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but it doesn't mean they're best friends. Probably because they can't afford to do to Indy what she wanted to do. Hey, Alfred, they really, really can't. They can't. And he's not going to let them. Period. So I think that he is the injury to slow roll of production. And I think he was the one that dropped that Doomcock's rumor. They didn't get it from Doomcock. They got it from somebody in the production. Or they got it from Bob Chapek. But Ford was the impetus for that. It got out there in the Daily Mail, and everyone went, and then Indy 5 got pushed back from its release date a year, and all of Kennedy's stuff started getting canceled or delayed. And there's still no movement on The Acolyte. It's not, if it's going to start filming in May, they need to start, where's the director? Well, I don't know White Phoenix. I just think that and also I think the fans' reactions to what was going on with the sequel trilogy, I think he really realized that it wasn't the right thing to do. Yeah, we are winning, and we just gotta hold the fortress. But it's very interesting to me that no Kennedy anywhere, none. They can sit there and talk about The Acolyte till they're blue in the face, But I keep monitoring IMDb Pro, nothing. And it's getting, I mean, it's February. We got February, March, and April. What I think they're going to do with that show is just tell Headland, if you want to make it, you got to take the Star Wars stuff off, and you can take that and go somewhere else with it. And she'll go running to Netflix. And who can actually afford to make at least one season of that? It'll bomb, you know. It'll bomb just like the new Lord of the Rings thing. God almighty. Anyway, so we lost Ivan Reitman. It was announced late Sunday evening. First off, I'm not surprised. Seeing him interviewed when Afterlife came out, he looked he didn't look good, all right? And it's sad. He was one of the good guys in Hollywood. He didn't live in Beverly Hills. His kids were all seemed to be raised right. He pretty much lived to make people laugh. And he lived to make us happy. And he did a really good job at doing it. I really I can't begin to describe where he came into my life. But I gotta say that first came into my conscience when he directed Stripes, then Ghostbusters, was it Twins, Kindergarten Cop, all these movies and things. Just a second, that were very, very, very important, I think, in our lives as the audience. I watched one that doesn't get the accolades I think it should because I think it's funny. 6 Days, 7 Nights. Harrison Ford, Anne Heche, and David Schwimmer. Heche did a good job. Soon after she made that movie, she decided she didn't want to be a lesbian anymore. Can't imagine why. And it was just a silly, funny movie. And you go to an Ivan Reitman movie, and you weren't gonna go and get beaten over the head with bullshit. You were just gonna go and have fun. Okay, that's what it was about. He was part of what I call the Saturday Night Live crew, with Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, who is a writer on Saturday Night Live, and John Belushi, who was actually slated to play Peter Venkman. And Reitman is one of the few people in Hollywood that just seeing him would make you smile because you knew that he cared about the product he put out there, and he cared about how the audience felt when they left. And that's really what a director should be thinking about, I think, in my opinion. So when I think about him and I think about the things that I'm gonna miss, it's the ability to tell a funny story. It's the ability to connect with the audience, and its ability to make something that people will always remember. Part of the Ghostbusters, is that. Okay? All right? And I gotta say, when I think about Ghostbusters, as much as I love John Belushi, I'm really, 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 really glad that it was Bill Murray who played Peter Venkman. And the reason why is because those movies would not be what they are without him. Just an FYI. So, yeah, we and we're just going to see, it's part of our childhood. It's part of who we are. I mean, I remember I watched the first episode. How old was I? 8 years old? 7, 8. The first episode of Saturday Night Live. All right? John Belushi and those guys, all right, sci-fi universe, what are you talking about? Who's not going to be, all right. Well, yeah, they're gone. You know, they're those guys, they know it too, which is why they're doing what they're doing. All right, they're desperate to keep their jobs. And I'm going to say this, they know that it's over. They know it. Okay? And I'm here's something weird. Matt Martin, who's part of the story group, is in LA now. And I think he used to be in San Francisco. Now he's in LA. Pablo's still in San Francisco. I don't know. Well, you can't not see it coming. All right, you can't not see it. We see it. We're not at ground zero. But, and I'm going to tell you something. The ratings for Boba Fett gives Jon Favreau a lot more leverage. Okay, a lot. And it gives and the earnings call gives Bob Chapek more leverage to start weeding out the bad apples. And I've got to say this, if the story about Favreau is true, and we've only heard it from one source, it doesn't surprise me. If you want to avoid the same bullshit that happened on Boba Fett and the stuff that happened to Gina Carano, you may have to step in and take over. It's just the way it is. And what I see when I look at Favreau is someone very, very capable of going in and saying, this isn't going to happen anymore. Not under my watch. But again, the consensus is he's not going to do it. We've been it's been put out there that he's got a bigger job. But, gotta remember, John Lasseter was running Pixar. All right? He wasn't just that go-between the creatives and Alan Horn. He ran Pixar. So, it's easily doable. Okay? And if you can see what Star Wars could be, and you knew there were people in the organization that didn't share your vision and were doing everything they could to hurt what you were trying to do, and you realized that if you took the job, that you could make them go away, you'd do it. You'd do it. It's just that simple. Anyway, I've been on for almost an hour. Well, whatever. So, yeah, the ratings were great. But Han Solo not showing up, probably there are good reasons why. Hey, he was on the IMDb page for Boba Fett. Okay, then it was pulled down. So, it's very interesting to me seeing how that played out, but I really do think that they didn't think it was worthy of him. you know. Well, she'll, you know, with KK, we don't know where she is, but the feeling is she's going to be gone sooner than people think. She's not going to last out this contract if she even signed it. And 6 to 9 months, but the way it feels now, I think it's faster. I think JPEG wants to move, and he wants to move fast. He wants to move effectively. He wants everything done. You know, I mean, what else are you gonna do, right? So, and again, let's go back to the acolyte. Nothing happening. Nothing at all. All right. It's not on the IMDb Pro page as moving. Pre-production. We're talking about Disney. There's a company now that cancels movies or TV shows as they're being filmed. And it's not even slated in Pinewood, at least not that we know of. I still got people looking. It's not slated there, and it's not slated in LA anywhere. Okay? And we're probably gonna hear that's being canceled before she goes. But if that's done, then it's like, look, just tell us she's gone. Just put it out there. Speculation's killing us. Okay? I'll tell you something else. It would shut the shills up. And it would shut the black pills up again. Cameron has a good point. When she goes, what are they going to hate? There's a never-ending search for the next Last Jedi to hate, right? And, oh no, I didn't do a rant. I knew, look, did anybody see the KOTOR trailer? I saw it. It was interesting. It was good. Her being gone, I think she's probably fired. I don't know if I don't think it's going to Planet Musk, so I wouldn't even bring that up. They know that's a stupid idea. Andor season 2 is filming right now. But no, Sam Maggs, pretty much you could basically look at that and go, yeah, this was gonna happen. Okay. Not a big deal. Not something to sit around and go, yeah, it was gonna happen. Just what it is. And well, there's script treatments, so they can change what they need to change. This is, if they do it, again, it's a rumor, grain of salt. George basically walked into TFA or A New Hope and basically changed stuff. I mean, when he first wrote that, Han was supposed to be basically a Trandoshan. No, heck. Empire Strikes Back, that was a way different script. The Return of the Jedi, that was a difference. That story was far different than what he first had thought out, what he and Larry Kasdan had written. I mean, Larry Kasdan loves killing people off. And I think the only problem that I can really look at in Return of the Jedi is Lando leading with the Falcon, Lando leading the assault on the Death Star. There should have been Han, and Lando should have gone and basically just gone back to get Cloud City back. Yeah, George had outlines, so they can use it. They can look. Jon Favreau has said he's going to use the EU where he can. So probably combine what George did with some of the EU and with George's advice, probably make a good story, you know. But those scripts do not last. I mean, the first or those outlines don't last the first draft. They don't. All right, you get an outline, and you go, no, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't. I mean, George was the guy that would sit there and think about something, put it out there, and realize it didn't work, and then take it off. I mean, that's how he wrote things. So, what I look at with any of this, if it happens, there aren't any Star Wars movies, franchise movies, anything, feature films on the docket, okay? Despite what Screen Rant and the SJWs say, I mean, so what I think, we're going to hear some stuff sooner rather than later about Kennedy's real status. And when that comes out, you're going to see a flurry of activity on Twitter. Okay? Hidalgo will either go to ground or he'll put some sad sack, I'm so sad Kathy's leaving, you know, thing out there. All right, but there's going to be a flurry. So, well, I would like that. I would also like the Han and Leia to be fixed. I don't really. I mean, you know, there are too many people who want Luke to have a relationship. So I assume we're going to see Mara Jade somewhere. See, you can do what George wanted to, but you can also take away the stuff that he put in there that didn't work, which is what he would do, and all the rest of that stuff. It's not difficult, because that's what he did with every movie he ever made in Star Wars. Anyway, I gotta go. I've been on for an hour. But let not your hearts be troubled. We're winning this, and every day we get closer to hearing Kennedy's gone. Somebody's got to explain to me why they went to Orlando to the park there instead of Anaheim. Anyway, stuff, sending out. See you guys around the galaxy.